Hi, and welcome everybody. Today our special guest is Kristen. And Kristen's a brave soul, willing to ask her communication questions. So hopefully you all can get some nuggets of learning too. Welcome, Kristen.
Thank you, Neha. It's been a pleasure working with you.
Well, I'm honored to have you. What have you been thinking about?
So in doing the work with you, I really enjoy this work. It inspires me, it feeds my soul, and it energizes me. I want to listen to it and be involved, not in just your work, but works that are similar to it. And I've always read about it, and it takes me to another place that I truly enjoy. So when we talk about working professionally from a place of inspiration versus something that drains you, how do you reconcile that passion that you have, that love, that innate, it almost comes natural to want to learn more about this and to be involved in it versus work where you feel as though you've done something that will provide a good income for you and stability for your family?
Wow, such a great question. Really what you're saying is it possible to come from inspiration, not obligation, and make good money?
Absolutely.
Well, the short answer is yes. And the way that I think about it, right? I started my career as an engineer, mechanical and biomedical engineer. I worked at Motorola for a year and I enjoyed it, but I didn't have enough people contact. I found myself as an engineer always looking for a meeting and the engineers don't like meetings. And so I found myself as one of those atypical engineers, and I started to realize I was craving human contact. So I loved solving complex problems, but I needed it to be about people. So I obviously did the natural next step, which is go to medical school. And, and so now I'm solving complex problems with people, right? And what I realized when I started doing that was, I'm a real root cause kind of person. So sometimes in an acute situation, it's actually just someone got in an accident and their bones need to be reset because they're broken. Sometimes taking out an appendix is the right thing to do. Or when someone comes down with pneumonia, giving them antibiotics is exactly what they need. And everything's occurring on a physical level. Now, I also got really clear that there were times when things weren't happening on a physical level, but we ignored them for so long that they became physical. And people would come in with recurring headaches, insomnia, anxiety, panic, depression, a lot of ailments that sometimes can be physical, but a majority of the time aren't solved on that level. And you know it because your headache is not an Advil deficiency. But that's how we treat it, right? And so when I started seeing this gap about how people had chronic disease and they would keep coming in over and over again, I realized it didn't feel satisfying to me to only address the physical level. I wanted to also understand how their mental, emotional, social, spiritual level connected to how they felt physically. And so work is something that is a lot of your time, your day, your energy. And money is just an exchange of energy. And so the idea of how do you find your passion, what I would tell you is the short version is to figure out yourself first. So what would heal me? So for me, what that was is I had a really hard time communicating from when I was little. So I was bullied. I had all sorts of things going on where I didn't feel like I could speak up. And so I kept silent. I would just shut down and be quiet. But doing that over a long period of time is really toxic for my physical self. I developed thyroid issues, not surprisingly, in my throat. I felt heavy and low energy a lot of the time. I felt anxious if anybody wanted to have a conversation that I thought might blow things up, right? So when I realized, what will heal me is the ability to communicate, then the next step is, how can I use that thing that heals me to serve we? serve others. And I started to see that my patients were really relieved and really helped and came off their medications once they understood where they were blocked and where the origin and cause of their stress was.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
So that was the heal me first, then serve we, and then impact world. And so because every day I wake up and believe that it makes a difference. I mean, I do all these, videos and I try to help people and I just put them out in the universe hoping that it can help someone, that the right person will get this, right? And so when you believe that, your work doesn't feel like work anymore. It feels like it rejuvenates me while it serves we and connects me and changes the world. And the world becomes closer and closer to the world I want to live in.
Mm-hmm.
Then the part about money. The part about money goes down to self-worth. So it goes deep inside. On that level, once you heal yourself and you believe you have something to share with other people, it's about asking yourself about your relationship to money and what you learned about it when you were young, what your parents taught you about it, what your community taught you about it. If you think it's bad, you won't ever want to take money. But if you believe that money is an exchange of energy and you always feel that you're giving, like under-promising and over-delivering, right? Like making sure that whatever you've told someone, you're willing to give them that and more. You feel good about it when they pay you well. Like I'll tell you personally, I get paid well to do what I do, and I feel good about it because I feel valued and I feel that the companies that hire me, the leaders that hire me, they're getting even more than they ever thought possible. And so it feels like this win-win. And it also makes me believe in myself even more because then I can redirect whatever additional money I have to creating more products and help reaching more people. So when I create videos and I put them out, right, it runs me a few $1,000s a month to do it. That's just service work. That's just anyone who wants to Google it can get it. Hundreds of videos. I love doing it, but I also need to have the reality of funding it, right? So the question for you really is, what would heal me, serve we, and impact the world? And the way you figure it out is by telling, I'm going to have you tell me now, just a time in your life when you felt that something you did or said, an interaction with someone, mentoring someone, sharing something, accomplishing something mattered. What matters to you? Describe one experience.
Nothing comes to mind at this moment, but it's whenever I felt as though we've had a good connection and a person was able to move from one place to the next. And so I'm always looking, when I first came to this new company that I work at now, I wanted that touch with people, I wanted the relation. Like no one's asking me out to coffee for a meeting to get to know me. So I reached out to everyone else and said, can I get to know you? And so it was that interaction that I was looking for, and to really look at our concerns, our goals, our objectives in a collaborative method. So I look back on my past work environment, and we worked with medical students, and it was always great to be able to have an exchange with them where it was impactful, and it either solidified their career path, it impacted their career path, it informed their judgment, and it really gave them a long-term perspective on their life. And so that's when I really felt an exchange, but it didn't necessarily, it wasn't because of the industry or their contact, it was because there was an exchange between that person and myself.
All right. So I got a lot of information from that. Thank you for sharing. So it really sounds like your currency is people, and not just small talk, but deep and meaningful connection. You care about unifying, bringing people together, not dividing them, not only with each other, but with themselves on what matters to them. So in this, part of your challenge in healing me is to be that woman in the world who gets good money for doing what she loves as a role model to other people that this is possible. That's number one. Number two feels more around mentoring, motherhood, coaching, leading. It feels that there's this way that it is by the quality of conversations that there's an alchemy you want to have happen with you and another, and that re-energizes you.
Yes.
Have you ever done coaching training or anything around psychology, coaches training?
With someone else, I had a life coach. Is that I did have that experience? Yes.
Was it?
And I've had a couple. Oh yes, it was. And I've had a couple people say, "Kristen, why don't you go into life coaching?" Mm-hmm. It's been a suggestion.
So amazing, because it's really about just tapping into what matters to you. These conversations, you were really clear. It wasn't that they were med students. It wasn't like in particular. It was that they were humans at a place in their life where they needed guidance, help, bouncing things off, right? So there's different ways to do it. And as you start to tune into this, follow the crumbs. Just follow them. Anything that lights your heart up, sign up for that 6-week course, that experience, right? That training. And surround yourself. Ask for opportunities. One of the things you just asked me is, Neha, are you going to expand your team? That's exactly it. When you resonate, be bold, ask questions, right? And notice what lights your heart up, because that's going to heal me so that you can serve we, so that you will impact the world. So are you a mom?
I am, of 3 teenagers.
Oh my, talk about insane opportunity there. But in that regard, actually, when they're teenagers, sometimes I think the best strategy is to ask yourself how they can inform you. Right? Teenagers need boundaries and all of that, but they're not the ones who want it from us. Like, they don't want it from their parent. They actually would love it from like an aunt or a friend of mom.
Yes.
But not like the direct parent. And of course, I'm tapping back into my inner teenager.
It's accurate, Neha.
What'd you say?
That's accurate.
Yeah. And so I think the best with them is to surround them with people that you really admire, that you want them talking to. And then on your own path, it's about really surrounding yourself with the coaches and the community that is doing what you love, and then figuring out what it's going to take to get you there. So was this helpful? Feel like it resonates?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So what are your takeaways?
Some of the takeaways are to do is what's been coming natural to me. It's natural for me to sign up for different courses when I get put myself on a path on the internet, just in communities where I'm offered different opportunities. I take advantage of those and I step in, and I love the work, but I'll go the next step and actually raise my hand and say, how can I be involved and how can I be on the path? But because it was natural to say, hey, Neha, what are you doing with your team?
Yeah.
How can I be a part of it? And whether that's in the brainstorming of it, the forming of it, I love the process part of it, but I do love the content. So yes, those are my takeaways. Continue being my natural, bold self.
Well, I will tell you, there's something called conscious community that's coming, and no one's really heard about it yet. But many of the people I work with are asking me if I would be interested in connecting everyone to each other. And I thought, why not? Why not? Like, anyone who's on this path of wanting to know themselves better and learn about themselves, what a great group of people to put together. Accountable, clear, curious, good listeners, having grace for themselves and each other. I'm in. So
I'm all the way in.
So if any of you out there know that you think you might not fully believe that you can make good money and do what you love, we hope that today we've dispelled that myth for you, because it's all about healing me, using that to serve we. How does that help other people once I master the thing that I'm the most afraid of, or the thing that would heal me the most? How can I use that to help other people in the world? And ultimately, how can we use that to impact the bigger world, right? And if each one of us gets in alignment with how to heal ourselves, how to help others, and how to change the world, we are going to make a big, big difference. And the last piece on that is, what is your relationship to money? Really, really a good one.
That'll be my homework.
Say, yeah, that's you really want to start thinking about that. It's an important one, because there's a lot of really talented people who don't make any money at what they do, even though they do great work.
Mm-hmm.
So don't let that be you. Until next time.
Thanks, Neha.
Bye-bye.